Hey everyone, I'm Heather. This is the podcast Life in Motion. I'm here with my friend Jamie, and today we are going to be talking about what I've been up to for the last few months.
We have not told you yet, so
I've
some
gone
of you are
back
going to
to
be
school.
surprised. Yeah,
Sort
back
of.
to school with a backpack.
With a backpack and everything. It's official. And so today we're talking about my experience going back to school, which is in a hospital setting.
Which means we talk about some medical stuff, and which led me to tell a little bit of my stillbirth story, a little bit about my dad dying. So those are kind of downers, but worth talking about.
Yeah, because this podcast is going to get you ready to be with your family over the Christmas holidays.
And so we're going to have a lot of fun learning how to be the least anxious presence anywhere we go. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started. So, Heather, we often share with our listeners and viewers about our real life.
Yeah.
But
Don't we always share about our real life?
Because it's called Life in Motion.
These
we
are
do.
not made up stories.
No, this is real life. But you've been keeping a secret.
Not a secret.
Okay.
I have been doing something new and haven't had a chance to share about it here yet.
Okay.
It's not a secret.
Okay,
it's
go
not
ahead.
a secret. But I am in training to be a hospital chaplain. And to be a hospital chaplain, you have to have a certain amount of certification. They don't just hire anybody off the street.
Not even you. Not even you that's in ministry. Okay.
Not even me.
Not even you.
Even a regular old pastor who might be ordained at a church still has to have a chaplain certification to be hired on at a
So if you
hospital.
wanted to retire, like maybe you got a little older, you were going to retire or hand over your church to someone, you couldn't just go be a chaplain. You still have to go through training.
still
If you're
have to go through-
65, 50 years of, probably not 50 years of experience, 40 years of ministerial experience, and you still have to go through training. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been volunteering at the church, taking prayer requests, going and visiting people in the hospital. And so I came across this chaplaincy program and decided, hey, I'm going to look into that and maybe try it out.
Sure.
So I am at Hillcrest Hospital doing their training. I go to class once a week, and I also work in the hospital doing chaplain work. And it's been super interesting. At Hillcrest, it is not a religious hospital like St. Francis and St. John are Catholic hospitals. This is no religious affiliation. And so when I am a chaplain at the hospital, I am representing the hospital, and I am not representing necessarily God or my church or
Interesting.
I am representing the hospital.
I feel like maybe we should give it a different name then, because chaplain means religious to me. So
it does have and people will see you coming and think, oh, here's a religious person, or they think, they see the chaplain coming and they have a strong reaction of no, thank you, I don't want any. Or they're quick to affirm, yes, I am a Bible believer and I want your prayers. It's like it can go either way when you walk into somebody's room. But so anyway, I'm doing the hospital training, and where was I going with that? And I'm representing the hospital.
Yep.
So there's different stipulations. So when I go and visit somebody, some people are forthright and just saying, oh, yes, I go to First Baptist Church. And other people, sometimes religion doesn't even come up.
Sure.
But I can't necessarily bring up any religion. So I'm not allowed to offer to pray for someone. I can't say, would you like me to pray for you? I have to say, is there anything else I can do for you?
Do you say it and raise your eyebrows like you just did?
No, but my kids were teasing me. A lot of times I talk with my hands, and so I'll say,
is there anything I could do?
So they're like, they were like, Mom, you do it like this. Is there anything I can do for you? And
you actually talk with this motion a lot.
Do this all the time.
This is hilarious.
So
the Lord's been preparing you.
Yeah. Blessings to you or something.
I've never experienced you saying blessings to you, but I hope you'll start.
Because I can't necessarily,
Right.
that's not necessarily a religious statement.
So you're using that in people's rooms right now, blessings to you?
Yeah, blessings to you.
Okay, I love this.
Somebody's going into surgery. I'm just like, blessings to you. And I will say, I pray for a quick recovery for you. And they always say thank you. I haven't had anybody yet.
Seems like you're just towing right up to that line.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
So anyway, it's really interesting. But the thing with the hospital chaplaincy is it's not focusing so much on developing your theology or your religion, but it is developing you as a person so that you are the least anxious presence in a room that might have a big emergency or a lot of emotions or something like that. So our job as a chaplain is non-anxious presence, non-judgmental listening.
Oh, sure.
It's just a companionship or spiritual support or emotional support. So
you are going through a program that basically you sign up to help other people and they say, let's do some inner work on you instead.
yes, exactly.
That's fantastic.
So my class day is sharing experiences that we've had in the hospital and how it affected us as a person or how it challenged our ministry or, how did that bring out an emotional response in you?
Okay, question. So since it's not a Catholic or religious hospital, the people that come to do the chaplaincy, are all of you religious people?
Everybody in my group right now is a Christian.
Okay.
They're all religious.
Okay.
But any faith can sign up to be a hospital chaplain.
Okay.
One of my fellow interns is a Catholic priest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's been a priest for a long time.
Yeah.
And so
He probably wants to retire. Remember I gave that example.
Yeah,
Okay, go
he's
ahead.
getting close. But he's doing chaplain certification. So you can be of any different faith and be a chaplain.
Okay.
And so,
In this hospital.
In this hospital. And so it's just about being present for people in a time of need. So a lot of times I'll be called to a code blue where there's a medical emergency happening. And if family is there, they're often in an emotional, place. And I am there for them and not reactive to the situation. Sometimes people are angry, a lot of times lots of crying and things like that I am with them and not.
Wow. That, for some reason, while you were talking, it gave me that, like, how beneficial and important that is. Well, a couple of things came to mind. When you were in college, which you didn't finish college, but you were in nursing school. So just watching God order your steps over all of these years and seeing, like, you've always had a heart for hurting people in a medical setting, like you just have. You cared for your mom as she was dying, all those things. But also, this thought just flashed in my mind, and I haven't thought about it in at least 5 years. But you remember when I had my stillborn baby, and after I delivered Audrey, it seemed to happen really quickly, but I delivered Audrey. It's like everybody feels so bad for you that everything then kind of happened quickly. Like the doctor's crying and she's just like, I'm going to give you your space. It was an honor to be with you during this situation. The nurse takes the baby to clean the baby. Brian went with the nurse with Audrey. So Brian leaves. The nurse leaves. The doctor leaves. And I'm there all by myself.
Yeah.
And what I remember about that was the non-anxious presence that was in the room. So they also clean the room faster than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like way faster than if you have a baby that is living. They just clean the room so quickly. And that sweet little old cleaning lady that said, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to sit over there in the corner because I'm not going to leave you alone. Like, I won't say anything. I'm not going to leave. And I can picture her face. I can picture her presence. Like, as I went through the grief process, I just remember feeling like that was Jesus present in my room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so you saying what your role is, like regardless of if this hospital is religious or not, like you get to walk in and be Jesus in rooms with people.
Even if I never get a chance to mention his name, I know that I'm carrying his presence. And many times I'm with a family in a situation and they are, they've just lost a loved one or something. And it's like, I am just going to sit here with you. If you have any questions, if you need anything, I'm here for you. But I'm just going to sit here for right now and be with you.
And what a unique gift you have, Heather, because even as I hear you talking and I'm taken back to that lady in my hospital room, it's a unique gift and skill set, but it's also a unique personality because, I can be quiet when I have to. But it's when I have to. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I fill situations with joy and laughter because I want you to be happy, or I just want to talk. Like to be a non-anxious presence that can be quiet and just be there is a lot more difficult for me than it is for you. Mm-hmm. That's a very unique gifting. So tell me more. What is a week in the life of Heather going through the chaplaincy program look like?
So I am doing an internship, and I had the option of doing the residency program. And residents are there they're 5 days a week, and they're only there during the daytime. But I can't commit to 5 days a week.
Sure.
And so I'm doing the internship, which takes longer. Mm-hmm. And I'm there one day for class where we talk about all of our stuff.
So like 8 to 5 or?
8 to 5.
Okay, a full day.
And we'll talk about different things happening. We go to grand rounds where you hear hospital cases.
Oh, wow.
This week was, lung cancer and how to do lung cancer screening, get people more lung cancer screening and stuff like that. So, which doesn't necessarily affect me. Some of it does, but
it's probably knowing a little bit about everything is probably what really would help you. So it makes sense that you would do that. Okay.
So, and then we talk about all of our things. I have
what things?
Hospital visits that we've had, issues that have come up.
So I know you can't. I know there's HIPAA violations and you can't tell me, so you'll have to make something up. But like, give me an example of like you were going to share a story. What do you mean?
So there's two ways that we share a story, not outside of anecdotal stories that we might say, I was with a patient and they were going into surgery and nervous and whatever. There's that story, but then there's two different homework assignments that I have where I share a specific story so one is a case study or a verbatim where I recount a conversation that I had with somebody and I have to give different insights of how that story affected me. How did I enter into that story?
Interesting.
And that is like, as our supervisor would say, the meat and potatoes of learning how to be a chaplain.
Okay, this is probably also the meat and potatoes of learning how to go to your extended families for Christmas.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you keep teaching me because we're going to head into the holidays.
So
keep teaching
for
me.
instance, I had a conversation with a lady who was in the hospital for, she had a surgery.
Don't tell us too much and break the law.
I'm not going to tell you too much.
Okay.
And I went and visited her, and she'd been there for about a week and had not had any visitors. And in the course of my conversation with her, I find out that she is estranged from most of her children.
Oh, wow.
She's a little bit older. She looks and acts older than she actually is. But she's in her life circumstances are very tenuous. So
I like when you use big words.
If she has an accident or an illness, she's on the brink of homelessness.
Oh, goodness.
And her health, relationships are declining, money situation is unstable. And being in that conversation with her was reminding me of some of my relatives. Mm-hmm. And I was feeling compassion towards her because of her situation. But at the same time, I'm thinking about my relatives and how this could be them. And, and I have to stay detached to a certain extent. I can empathize with her, but I'm not really able to solve her problems in any physical way. But it does bring up feelings of experiences in my own life. So as I talk about this with my group, I am talking about the feelings that I am experiencing during that conversation, and how do I manage my emotions so that I can be a non-anxious presence for her.
So what were the emotions you're feeling, and how did you tell me what you told your classmates? I need to know.
So you are just recognizing that she is her own person, and the things that she is experiencing are not you, and so it's just learning to let those things go. Like, you could walk out of a situation of a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Maybe a very tragic code blue, or someone far too young has died from something.
And so you're right there in the middle of all that.
And you're right there in the middle of that. And how do you let go of the emotions, the grief, without being callous? It's and as a Christian, you're able to just say, pray.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not with the people and they don't ask me to pray for them, I still am going to walk out of that room and I'm going to pray for them, not in their presence, but, just releasing things to the Lord, like, Lord, this is in your hands, and having the faith to believe that He is doing more than and He's working in this family. He's working in this lady that I had a conversation with. He's working in her situation, even though in that whole conversation that we had, nothing was brought up about religion.
Sure. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking like how this relates to, I would say the majority of our listeners are Christians, because so are we. And how does that relate potentially to anybody's everyday walk? Like how can I hear what you're saying and take that? I'm in a weird season. I'm not in a weird season. I'm in a great season where I think it's because I've asked God, like, show me opportunities I have to pour into people. I'm getting to where I'm the older generation. So who can I be pouring into and loving and sharing the experiences in life that I've had and growth? And she's going to die because I'm going to say her name on the podcast, but I'm going to anyway. But my sweet little 24-year-old bestie, Addie, I am having such a sweet time being an older friend to her in a different way than I could be a friend to my own children, because there's some level of heart tied together with your own kids that makes everything feel like such a bigger deal. So she's only a few years, she's 4 years older than my oldest son. So not too terribly different in age.
You're old enough to be her mom.
I could be her mother, but I'm not. And so she can bring me stories and tell me things, and I can just be over the top excited or say, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Nope, don't agree. And she can take it all because I'm not her mom.
Yeah.
So she can take the things I say and it's not personal. So sometimes I tell her I think she's wrong about something, or I think you should pray about this situation. She wanted to go and work and live up in the Northeast. She had some really killer opportunities because she's brilliant and she's about to graduate from law school, and she'll take the bar in February and all these things. And I just started sensing in myself. Now, if I'm her mom, I'm probably saying things like, is this a wise move? What church will you go to? Is this what the Lord wants you to do? All the things, but I'm not the mom. And so I'm living through the lens of like, that would be really fun. It'd be really fun and really exciting. And then as I pray for her, I feel compelled to ask her some hard questions. Like, is this what God has for you?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if not, the big girl job in the big city will suck.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds all great, but is this what God has for you? only to find out as I'm asking her hard questions, God's dealing with her and it's not the right next step for her. And she's going to stay here. And like her parents are so excited. Thanks so much for loving on Addie. And I'm just like, I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah.
Like actually, but as you're talking about chaplaincy, I'm learning as a believer who's a little bit older in life, if I have some younger people to pour into, it's growing my faith in ways I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Because with my own kids, I feel like a responsibility. I'm trying my hardest to get it right.
Some control.
I need you to get it right. I need you to study for your tests. And I need just the feelings tied to your own children feel quite different than I feel like I'm living a 24-year-old life kind of. Like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Wah! And I have no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that's a huge step to take as a parent to learn the differentiation between this is my child and they are their own person.
It's so hard.
And they are living their own life.
Yes.
And the choices that they make are their choices and not mine. I might not agree. There might be other things that I want for them, but being able to let them live their life without you getting involved and saying, well, did you?
Learning to be a non-anxious presence is your role as a chaplain. And I think should be our role as believers, the closer we get to Jesus, the further along. I'm noticing it in my parenting as I parent a much younger child and an older child. Like Cooper recently was like, I might fail Spanish. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, I'm really nervous. And I was like, I'm not threatening you or anything, but if you lose your academic scholarship, you can't go to school there. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
So, man, good luck.
Yeah.
And
surely you're giving him, can you do extra credit?
What about it?
Get a tutor?
How often are you talking to the professor? Does a professor know you? Are you telling him how hard this is? Like, I'm studying this much. Am I studying the wrong things? Yes, I'm coaching him along, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not just leaving him to himself, but are you talking to the professor? Are you going to office hours? Are you getting a tutor? Are you doing that? He's doing all the things. He was even his professor mentioned one time liking key lime pie or something. So the professor calls Cooper key lime guy because Cooper keeps bringing him key lime pie. And finally, I was like, too much. It was cute one time. It was great another time. Don't take him any more key lime pie because now you're trying to buy a grade and that's not going to look well on you. Now just go to him and be like, I am studying so hard and I'm still failing. But on the flip side, I'm not anxious about if he fails or not. I'm just kind of like, maybe this isn't God's plan for his life. Maybe college isn't his plan. I'm just like, I don't know, Cooper. Well, lo and behold, he has found a way to bring that grade up because when I told him, you just wouldn't be able to go to school there.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing I parent Eleanor a lot more like that because I'm older. I had a parent call me recently and ask me some advice, 5th grade advice. And I was just thinking, these grades don't even count, even towards college. My goal would be teach responsibility and teach grit and determination and let the chips fall where they may. Why are we so twirled up? But I think I have done a little bit of work about releasing some anxiety and trusting God in different ways. So this chaplaincy is fascinating to me.
Yeah. Which, as a younger parent, you get all twirled up to
about
use
everything.
One of your words.
I love that word.
Why is the teacher being so mean?
Right. Right.
Or whatever. And it's kind of like with my younger girls, do you have homework? Yes. Well, okay, you better take care of that.
Right, exactly.
Oh, I forgot my paper. I'm sorry. Can you email your teacher or
figure it out?
out?
I'll tell you how to figure it out.
But I'm on a group me with other parents who are like, when's this assignment due?
Right.
Do you have this paper? So-and-so forgot to bring it home. And I'm just like, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
And even if that was my child, I'd still be like, this is not my problem.
I have the advantage of having a college kid right now that was the kid in elementary school that forgot things, that made mistakes, that I parented similarly. Just part of it's my bend, but you'll have to talk to the teacher. You'll have to phone a friend. You can borrow I've got that friend's mom's phone number. Here you go. You can call and see if you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But now I'm watching him know how to do it outside of the house because of how I parented.
Yeah.
It's just going to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more about what types of things you do in this classroom setting.
Well, we talk about an emotional event that might have stayed with us and, what feelings are lingering, which this is a great question to journal about. You don't have to be in a chaplain program, but just if you think back on your week, what is an emotional event? The emotions have stayed with you. You were angry, frustrated, sad.
Yeah.
And are you having an internal dialogue with the person that you interacted with? Especially if you're angry. We do this all the time where you get in a fight with somebody or somebody does something to...
You say this all the time in chaplaincy? You guys are in fights with people?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Not me.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Not me.
You're above that.
But if you're having an internal... We collectively...
Okay.
Somebody cuts you off in traffic.
Oh,
and
okay.
you will in your car...
I thought we were talking about at the hospital. I'm like, who's making everybody so mad?
Okay, here's an example.
Okay.
I was with a family at a Code Blue, and
just for reference,
yes.
Code Blue is like they're dying.
Yes,
okay.
Their life-saving measures are being initiated, and it could go either way.
Okay.
So I'm with a family at a Code Blue, and only the wife is there to begin with, and I'm with her, and she's like, please pray, asked me to pray. I prayed with her, and they're working on her husband for a good 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so this is an extended period of time.
Okay.
And her daughter shows up, and, I'm there. They are receiving comfort from me. I'm standing there with them, but they're also receiving comfort from me. And then another relative shows up, and she's just like, who is she? Why is she here? And you're in the way. And so my reaction is to be offended. And, it's kind of like, well,
you haven't been here the whole time. I've been the one watching the man die.
I am the chaplain, and I have a
not
right
yet.
to
You're not certified yet. Nope.
And I have
am
a
the chaplain
right to
in
be
training.
here, So it's like that. Not only is that an emotional experience of being with that family, but then also the internal dialogue and the feelings that come up with being rejected.
Yeah.
And recognizing those feelings, and then understanding she's not mad at me. She's responding out of the emotions that are happening with her family and a loved one passing. And, it's kind of like, okay, releasing that to, I can't get upset with her.
Yeah.
She is just responding out of her emotions.
I wonder if I'm carrying emotions from my dad dying that I'm not knowing how to process. Not every night by any stretch, but occasionally I dream about my dad. In fact, I had my 6-month teledoc appointment with my psychiatrist, and I was just like, I'm staying on my medication. I'm fine. I don't need anything. My dad just died. This would not be the time to even talk, because it seems like every 6 months we just discuss, are you feeling good? It's because the very first time I ever talked to her, I was like, I don't want to be on medicine. So she's always offering me the opportunity to wean myself off. I'm like, I don't want to talk about any of that. My dad just died. She's like, okay. And so she was asking me a few questions, and I said that I am having dreams about him. And so then she's like, what's happening in the dreams? And I was like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me, which it wasn't. She wanted to make sure that they weren't like terrifying dreams, and they're not. But it's a wide range of, like, one night I had a dream that my dad had already died and no one knew. I had to tell everybody all over again.
Yeah.
And that was a crappy dream. And then I had one dream where it was like 10 years ago and everything was just normal. That was a nice dream. And then I had a dream recently that my dad was still alive. Oh, this one will make me emotional. I better check. I better do some. I had a dream where my dad was still alive, and he told me I wasn't caring for him as well as the other people in the family.
Wow.
And granted, my dad's last year of life, like, I'm the only sibling that's, well, that's not true. My oldest sister is an empty nester, so she spent a lot more time helping. And my other sister and I have kids in the house, and it makes it more difficult to get away and help. But in my dream, my dad told me I wasn't providing adequate care or whatever. And anyway, those emotions are sitting with me. So tell me.
So that would be guilt is a normal stage of grief.
Okay.
That you feel guilty for.
Would you chaplain me? Go ahead. Yeah.
You might feel guilty for, I didn't do enough. I should have spent more time with him. I should have, there's such a finality to death in this world that you can't go back and have a do-over.
Right.
So your emotions and your brain want a do-over.
Yeah.
And maybe in some ways.
Yeah.
To say some things, did I show him that I cared?
Yeah.
Did he know, that you are processing some emotions in your dreams.
So many emotions.
Yeah. Which they're all fine. They're all good. And that if you can recognize those emotions, then when you're confronted with a situation that might remind you of your dad's passing or the time that he needed a lot of care, that you're able to enter into that situation and it doesn't affect you.
Right.
That you can't be in the room with somebody who might be experiencing something similar, or that you can then walk them through it or whatever, so that when you experience those emotions, you recognize them. You maybe as a Christian, you pray and you say, "Thank you, Lord, for the time that I had."
Yeah.
Thank you that I
haven't done any of that.
I did get to talk to my dad. It's just like recognizing this is what I'm feeling, and it's part of the process.
This is really not that fun.
No, but
it's okay.
But you're growing as you're doing it. So then when you are encountering situations, you're able to encounter them fully as yourself instead of, I'm going to have to go give a meal to somebody that's grieving, but I'm only going to drop it off on the porch and I won't be able to talk to them because it's going to be too emotional for me. But because you have acknowledged your grief, that you're able to step in and grieve with somebody, because even though it is painful to lose a loved one, you're able to honor other people with your presence.
It's interesting hearing what you're saying and what you're learning in chaplaincy. You're helping me too, but also thinking like, my mom, I called her one day and was like, "What do you really want this particular situation to look like?" And truth be told, I thought she was going to want it to look like I wanted it to look. So as a way of self-serving myself, I asked her, "What do you really want?" And then she told me it was different. And then I had to decide if I wanted to show up for her like she needed me to show up, because I really thought she was going to say what I wanted.
Yeah.
Which was like, let's ignore this and move on, or what, like, let's not have this event. Let's just skip this one.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want it to look like this.
Yeah. But that's a really healthy place to be in, to be able to offer that to your mom.
Well, but I offered it thinking she would answer differently. And when she didn't, then I'm like, now do I have to honor the offer or no?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily.
Okay, fair.
Not necessarily. You could come back and say, I don't think I'm ready to do that.
That's helpful.
You can say, I don't think I'm ready to do that. I want to support you in doing that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with you.
Oh, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
That's a better way to look at it.
Because then you don't have, other people's choices should not affect.
Right.
You are not obligated to do things the same way that other people want to do them.
This was way back to the mid-sized group, the Jenny Allen Find Your People, and like, are you telling people like, here's my expectations, and they don't have to accept them or receive them, but if you don't tell people what you need, they just don't know.
Yeah. But even asking people, what do you need to be able, and they say, I really need you to come over and clean my house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then you're like, oh, I don't have 4 hours to come and clean your house. So
or I don't like to clean.
Or I don't like to clean.
Somebody to do that
yes.
for you?
And so then it doesn't mean that you have to do it, But
Yeah.
what are the options there? You know
Yeah.
the need. Now, what are the options there
That's
to
good.
fulfill that need?
I noticed a friend of mine that I've talked about a couple of different times on the podcast, she lost her husband and, now less than a year later is going through a major health situation herself. And I was telling her the amount of spiritual growth I've seen in her. And through this health situation, she was able to really articulate, I think these 3 things would be helpful for me, and I don't want these things. Like, I just went through the loss of my husband, and a lot of people showed up in ways that were more burdensome for me, although they meant well. So going into this next season, here's a few things I don't want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. I'll actually be the person to tell everyone, here's what we're doing, here's what we're not doing, because it doesn't even have to come from you.
Yeah.
But just being able to say what I need versus what I don't want or don't need I'm going to see if I can try that with my family.
Yeah.
It sounds so easy. I'm like, I'll get back to you. Get back to you on that.
It was kind of surprising, but the training for the chaplaincy program is you think that I'm going to learn how to be with people in the hospital.
Or how to help others.
How to help others.
Yeah.
And really it's more about how do you take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. And so
it's like the airplane. Put your mask on your child first, and then
you
on
put on yourself first, and then
put the mask on yourself before you attend to your child.
Yeah.
Like, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. And it's, people, this is kind of, you hear it all the time, but it's so true, is your self-care. Your sleep, your screen time, your breathing, your eating, your exercising. Those are like huge things in developing a non-anxious presence in yourself. Journaling. So,
has chaplaincy made you actually turn into a journaler?
No, but I'm working on it. Working on it
Yeah.
because I had to set a learning goal. And so I was like, I'm going to journal.
Right.
And it's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
But yes, to be able to write down what was an event that created an emotional response within me this week. And even just writing it down can oftentimes help us recognize I was angry with my husband because I told him to take the trash to the curb.
Sure.
And he didn't do it, and he never listens to me, and it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like recognizing things that are building up. Or another one is what's the internal dialogue I'm having with myself, with others, and with God. So
Oh, wow. That's so good.
with myself is I battle thoughts of, you don't really belong here. You don't really know what you're doing,
Yeah.
And recognizing, okay, this is the tape recorder that's going on in my head. And even recognizing it can help you stop having those ongoing thoughts. But even then replacing it with something else. God orders my steps.
Right.
God's placed me here. He knows I'm here. He's equipped me to do this. And then internal dialogue with others. What conversations am I having in my head with other people
Oh, sure.
that I should be having out loud or let go of?
Yeah. And maybe have out loud with God. Maybe you need to verbalize it, but you don't need to verbalize it to the person sometimes.
Yeah.
I heard Mel Robbins, she had a clip that showed up on my Instagram feed that I watched where I was like, I'm going to start doing that because you mentioned self-care and screen time and these things. And she was talking about if you need to do internal work, she said maybe a starting place is you choose to not look at your phone while you're waiting in line, in any line you're in, which is going to be a fast food line, a grocery line, waiting to pick my dry cleaning, waiting to buy a ticket for something, or choose to not pick your phone up and see what your mind starts thinking. She said you will 100% be agitated first because we're so used to just self-soothing, being busy, like
distracted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, I haven't done this, but maybe I'll do this. Like those dreams I'm having about my dad, that might be the only time during the day God can get my attention. But what if I don't look at my phone at all when I'm waiting places and allow myself to start thinking, why am I feeling that way? Like, this is not to be offensive to you, but you shouldn't have had to tell me I might feel guilty that might be part of my griefs. Like, surely I could have recognized that feeling had I been quiet.
But don't be offended at
this.
Okay,
I won't.
But sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
True, fair.
And so if you have, I'm sure you have.
Probably.
But there might be people listening that have never recognized the 5 stages of grief.
Oh, exactly.
And they would not have known.
True.
They would be having this reoccurring dream of, I didn't do enough to take care of my dad while he was dying.
Right.
And not recognizing it's a normal part of grief.
But even you saying that makes me think now, because I hadn't recognized it, I probably should have, but let's say I wouldn't have even known to recognize it. But if I can have times in my day where I am not reaching for something to self-soothe, and I can spend some time thinking about those things. Because if I didn't know that was potentially a stage of grief and it was guilt, at least I would be pondering that thought, and then I can ask a friend, I can ask a pastor, I can seek some help. Like, what is going on with this? And then you have a chance to actually grow.
Yeah. I even along those lines of waiting, try driving in the car without any
sound.
Yeah. And just driving and stopping at a stoplight and just taking that time to recognize, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
Or taking that time to just say, Lord, what do you want to talk to me about? And that you are open to what is going on inside of me that I need to be aware of.
Even taking that time, which I know the point is to see what's going on inside of you, but to be looking what's going on in the world that I don't notice because I'm so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
You'll notice things at a stoplight that you would just never notice. That person in the car next to you that maybe you're supposed to be praying for, like you can look and see their countenance is obviously down.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
We can go into this holiday season really in a good way. So what are you enjoying, or how are you growing in this season, Heather?
Well, I really enjoy visiting with people. And so it's really knowing, just knowing how to listen to people and to be that presence for them without, I'm not great at giving advice. Like if somebody were to come to me and say, would you mentor me? I'd be like, sorry, I cannot help you there. That's not my...
You'd be so good, but it would just have to come naturally for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but, the chaplaincy is not giving advice. There's no pressure on me to have all the answers. It's really just being a supportive presence to people. So it's in my wheelhouse. I
was
really
going to
enjoy
say, it sounds so much like who God made you.
Yeah.
It sounds so much like who you are.
Yeah. So it's, it's validating to be with people, and they're like, thank you for talking to me. I didn't even know that I needed to talk about that. And
are you sometimes maybe in class and they're teaching you something or you're discussing something and it's not a learning for you, but rather you going, that's why that works.
Yeah.
Like I've always done that. Now I see why that's so helpful to others.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. I'm really teaching this class. I'm not really.
I hope your advisor or whatever is not listening.
I am a star student.
I bet you are. I bet everybody likes you. You should probably do a pastoral teaching at some point for our church pastors, because I bet you're learning things or probably better able to articulate and put into words some of the things that work in a crisis situation. I want to go back to how can we use that? We're not all chaplains. We're not all in the chaplaincy program, but what you're saying, Heather, is really fascinating to me. How can we, or at least me, use this moving into the holidays? It feels like there should be some takeaway I could get from this.
Okay. I have the perfect example of this playing out in my own household.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so We have 4 kids living in our home, and 2 of them are technically adults.
Okay.
So, that's a dynamic.
Sure.
To have young adults living in your home. And,
Sure.
I was out one night, and I came home, and the smoke detectors were going off.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is stressful. I mean, it is so loud.
That's what I was going to say. They're so loud.
The house is full of smoke. Whit had been cooking and not used the vent hood or something.
I just want to say, in Whit's defense, this is not your house, but my house. One of our smoke detectors is too close in proximity to our vent hood, and it goes off regularly, and it's not the cooker's fault. So it might not be his fault.
That's not the situation in our house.
Okay, very good. Go ahead.
He got the pan too hot.
Okay.
It caused a lot of smoke. The smoke detector is not that close to the stove.
It was a problem for real.
It was a problem for real.
Okay.
There wasn't any fire, but there was a lot of smoke.
Okay.
The smoke detectors are going off. We have had, they're connected to the alarm company. And we've had, so it's not just a beeping and you take out the battery and reset it. Like, the fire department will be called if you do not respond to the smoke alarm going off.
Okay.
And the company calling you and entering your PIN on the keypad and everything.
So it's a loud situation turned probably highly stressful.
Highly stressful because the alarm company that it's connected to has been really annoying, and
what's the name of the I'm kidding.
The
Go ahead.
Keypad doesn't always work. I mean, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like a 5 seconds and we'll turn off this alarm. It's minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes of an alarm going off.
Okay.
They had taken the alarm off the ceiling to get it to stop.
Who's they?
Whit and company.
Oh, okay. At home in this situation. Okay.
Taking the alarm off of the ceiling to get it to stop. It stopped. They cleared the house of smoke. They put it back on, and it started going off again. Goodness. So, I mean, it is tension.
Yeah.
A lot of tension.
And you said you weren't home.
I was not home.
Okay.
I am the non-anxious patients, and I was not home.
Okay.
So I get home, and the smoke detectors are going off. It's so loud. And I kind of make a joke to the kids, Whit's around the corner trying to figure out the keypad. And I kind of make a joke about Dad's cooking or I don't know what. And
because you just got home.
And you can tell Lucy's upset. Okay. And she's like, oh, we can't make jokes right now. And I was like, oh, no, we can't. And she's like, oh, no. And so her affect is hurt feelings and
what
upset.
What word did you just say?
Affect.
Okay. That's not part of the story. Go on. I don't agree with that pronunciation.
Her face, her body language is all telling me that she's got hurt feelings and she's upset.
Okay. Oh, no.
So Whit comes around the corner. I think we had gotten the smoke detectors to stop. I'm not sure. They might still be going off, but he's concerned the fire department is on the way.
Sure.
And I'm just like, what's going on here? And his presence is big and loud, and he is, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. And
I completely resonate with that personality.
And these two are making jokes, and I don't appreciate the jokes when I'm trying to get and he's just getting louder.
Yeah.
And retelling the story of me, not what was happening when I wasn't there. And,
I get nervous when you tell these stories because I listen and I just go, so what was so wrong with that? Because I can totally picture myself in that situation.
So I pull Whit off to the side, and I'm like, you can't be yelling right now. That's not helping the situation. I realize that you both are adults, but you're the older adult and you need to tone it down a little bit. You can apologize for yelling and just calm the situation and then have a conversation about what went wrong.
Okay.
And he's like, no, I am completely right. And she can be an adult and I can be mad about this,
I get it.
And I was like,
This is why Whit and I are not in the chaplaincy program.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Okay.
you could do that, but it's really not going to work for you. And anyway, we kind of sort of
Yeah.
patched things up,
Yeah.
but there was still tension.
Sure.
And, and the next day I still had to have another conversation with Whit about your tone in that conversation just elevated the tension and anxiety. You are responsible for your emotions.
Oh my
and
goodness. Your
helping-
chaplaincy training is affecting Whit.
I know.
You're going to have to be a non-anxious presence, Whit.
If you want somebody to listen to you,
Yeah.
you have to come with an open-handed conversation.
Eleanor would like to request that you be my chaplain.
Okay.
And you continue to say that to me. Getting louder doesn't help. Jamie, you need to be a non-anxious presence after school in the car with her.
Can you provide non-judgmental listening
No.
to the people in your life? Can you ask curious questions, genuinely curious questions, to know how they are feeling, or maybe why? Can you genuinely ask why they voted the way that they did in this election? To be open-minded and instead of assuming that they voted one way.
This is why we all need to be mentoring somebody else in our life. I know you said you weren't made out for mentoring, but I can do all those things with Addie so easy. Mm-hmm. The good news is that should be practice that I can then carry into, I should be able to see how well she receives it when I'm a kind person.
Yeah.
We have so much fun. Mm-hmm. I wonder if I could have that much fun with the children I'm raising if I would change myself and not them.
Yes.
It's a good question.
If every time Cooper, who is a legal adult,
Oh, I like his adulthood.
came to you and said, Mom, me and my friends went out drinking on Friday night.
Cooper,
Could you...
he's not a legal drinking
He's
age.
not... Okay, that doesn't make a difference to a lot of people.
I'm just like, no,
Doesn't
no, we're not going to do that, actually.
Doesn't make a difference
That's
to a
fair.
lot of people. Could you have a conversation with him, a non-judgmental conversation that would lead him to wisdom instead of...
I missed the boat on drinking and wisdom throughout my life, so that one might be easier for me to have.
Yeah, that's true.
Easier than some petty...
He spent all of his money.
That
and
one
he
would
doesn't,
just tick me off.
He spent all of his money
can't do that one.
on Chipotle and donuts and key lime pie.
You know what's so funny is he had to, for a class, he's in strategic marketing, media, something. He had to, for a class, had to do a day in the life video. So he's just shooting video all day and then doing a voiceover or whatever. And I actually thought as I watched it, because he sent it to me, he's like, what do you think? I didn't say this to him. I don't think he listened to the podcast, but I actually thought he woke up at 7 a.m. We went to Daylight Donuts, celebrate my friend's birthday. And I'm just like, you do not have money to go to Daylight Donuts.
I thought it was amazing that he went through that whole day and he didn't watch TV or play video games. Or
I don't think he has time right now. He's
yeah,
taking
I was
18
like,
hours.
that's a busy day.
Oh, see how positive you were? And I was just like, bro, what are you doing at Daylight Donuts?
I did notice he went out to dinner. And
3 times.
Yeah.
But the lunch and dinner, those are on his meal plan at school. So I'm cool with those. It was the Daylight Donuts where I was just like, I don't know if we have money in your bank account for that. $3 at Daylight Donuts. I'm like, I don't know if I agree. Okay, that's helpful though. How can I be curious? Mm-hmm. And I think probably even heading into the holidays with relatives that believe different than us, vote different than us, raise their children different than us, have different interests than us. Can I be curious? Can I ask questions? Can I choose to be non-judgmental regardless of what walk of life you're in? Can I do that?
When you see, your sister her kids are total brats.
Not my sister's kids.
Can you be in with your sister as her children are running around screaming?
Yeah.
And maybe say something without, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that.
Johnny might be good at soccer. It seems like he's got a lot of energy.
I don't know. I don't know how to handle that. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. It does at least.
I would be tempted to trip one of the kids
Oh
as they
my
ran past.
goodness. Okay, we are going to have to wrap up this podcast because we can't start encouraging our people to trip their nieces and nephews.
I guess in that situation,
What'd you say?
What I want in that situation, you have to. How do you keep yourself calm?
That's a great question.
So that you
That's
don't.
what I'm hoping you'll tell us.
How do you keep yourself calm, non-anxious
Yeah.
when everything's happening around you? Step out and deep breathe.
Okay.
Know that this is one day.
Yeah.
And you can get through this one day, and your sister's kids might be hellions, and that's not your problem.
Yeah.
I will get through this one day.
This one day. We can do it.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate the holidays with prayer and peace. Blessings to you. Blessings to you this holiday season. I think that's about all that we could possibly offer anyone.
That's the best that I got.
Here's what I would love to say to our viewers and listeners. We haven't been saying this, but if you at all enjoy us, which we know you do, would you like and subscribe and share this podcast? I don't know if you know this, Heather, but we're pretty popular.
We are.
We're pretty popular.
If you have not ever left a review,
that would help.
That helps.
And the reason we say this is because I don't think we're pretty popular because we're anything special. I think we're talking about things that people deal with every day. And our hope is that we could do this with other people. So if your friends don't know about us, how are they going to know if you don't help us spread the word? So would you do that? That could be your Christmas gift to us.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Would you give us a Christmas present? We would love it so much if you would like, subscribe, share, and comment. And that's probably all we need from you. That's probably it. Yeah, that's it. Don't come to our Christmas dinner because that's too much. We already have our own family to deal with. We love you. We're thankful for you. Merry Christmas. And we will see you next year.
Next year.
We'll see you next year. Bye.